I know he's been in the top 8 a few times,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe this is the first time he's gone undefeated. Correct me if I'm wrong, Plus.
Yeah, I mean, he's been an up and coming tamer for a very long time. You're absolutely right. The best performance he's had was in one of our previous, I believe, the Plus Tournament 53. He did go runner up. So 𝗬𝗵𝗵 was the champion for that tournament, and Paenis was the runner up. So he did get second place. That was the furthest he's ever gotten. But hey, getting just right there to second place, you can see what kind of caliber of player Paenis really is taking on. And you know, you could say about the same thing Redmoon, right? Slowly but surely on the come up. And hey, Blue, are you liking that one little Temtem on Redmoon's side? It might be a little innocent if you see it.
Yeah, Rolder is picked up. Yeah, as you mentioned, Paenis. 𝗬𝗚𝗚 is also grabbed by Mr. Redmoon here, and Rolder as well. And yeah, I saw this out of here. I was like, let's go, Crystal Gang! I like. Plus, there's Crystal Gang everywhere. I'm having a good time. But we'll have to see what Paenis decides to pair with this Rolder. Obviously, the Grandpa is still available, which he does pick up. I was going to say perhaps he doesn't want to pick up Grandpa yet because Voltkamex could get banned, and then you're locked out of sort of your wind options here. Mr. Redmoon could go for that ban. Obviously, you still have 𝗬𝗂𝗽𝗽𝗺 and 𝗬𝗫𝗚𝗚 as well as potential offensive options for the opposing 𝗬𝗫𝗃𝗃 and 𝗬𝗂𝗽𝗃 actually. So yeah, so Valorant does get removed, so there will be no turbo buffing shenanigans with 2 Wintems.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, maybe that's exactly why he's picking up Grandpa for something like Turbo down the road. Because I was actually thinking about Voltkamex, right? Voltkamex was something like Noxious Bombs, or perhaps he's just not running it. Most likely going to be aerobic, so maybe that explains why he didn't decide to pick up that Voltkamex. Instead, just relying on the Grandpa, potentially setting up some kind of control plays with those Hypnos. So we will see that there's a whole lot of Crystal Temtems on Paenis' side. The 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃𝗃 trying around the team. And then the 𝗬𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 for Redmoon. But hey, Blue Sapphire, here we go. Quarterfinals is started. We have number 1 seed going up against our number 8 seed, Redmoon. We could maybe see a little bit of underdog story, but might as well just sit back and find out for ourselves. So let's jump into this very first turn.
Who knows? The 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗃 buff could be proving a fruitful. Plague does come down onto the Grandpa, straight up exhausting it right away, but the stare down is going to be thrown as well onto that 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗃. Drill Impact is actually going to be doubling up in that 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗃 as well, so doing significant damage already. 34.8% remaining on that 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗃. Drill Impact trade 1 for 1, but it does favor the side of Paenis in terms of HP loss, but I think it is actually quite significant that the Grandpa is at this HP point already. I mean, there's still a Ninja to deal with.
Oh, you're so right. I mean, 𝗬𝗫𝗃 by itself is such a problematic Temtem, so naturally tanky, but oh, just not enough for the Plague to do it. So the Hypnosis most likely going on the road or trying to live for another day, which it ends up being. And unfortunately, you cannot say the same thing about the little old 𝗬𝗵𝗆 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗃 will be falling as early as turn 2. So down goes the first Temtem. Let's go ahead and see what Redmoon decides to pick up. Oh, it might just be exactly like we're seeing the 𝗬𝗏𝗃. I think that was the only one because 𝗬𝗚𝗃 felt a little bit threatened out from the rotor. So I think I like this 𝗬𝗏𝗃 play by Redmoon.
Oh, absolutely. I think 𝗬𝗏𝗃 here will be perfectly fine. Obviously, the Rolder being hypnotized is not very fun, so swap in to the Ninja still. As per mentioned, HKS actually is committed. We'll see if that goes to the Ninja spot. No, it goes to the 𝗬𝗏𝗃. Drops into 53.4% HP, going straight into the Grandpa, just securing that kill, not greeting for that Rolder damage that could have potentially come through. But the Drill Impact will also continue to pummel into this 𝗬𝗏𝗃, already down to 10% HP, and it should be a guaranteed kill next turn. Obviously, Aquatic Whirlwind should allow the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 to get one more attack off before it does finally go down, but you never know. There's still 𝗬𝗚𝗃 in the back pocket that could come out, but no, 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 is chosen for Paenis here.
You know, that
and,
is
getting that hostile buff.
I was just gonna say that's an interesting decision. I will almost want to see that Minotaur coming out, because if there's one Temtem that could maybe try to outspeed a 𝗬𝗂𝗏 with something like a hasty lunge, 3 prio versus 3 prio, because I think at this point the 𝗬𝗂𝗏 definitely will be getting off in an AWW. But oh, the rush! What am I talking about? The 𝗬𝗵𝗶 is perfect for this situation. So man, Paenis is just taking on another wavelength here. Well played for him.
Absolutely, allergic spread committed onto both these Tems, but the neutral reactive vial does come in. 𝗬𝗵𝗶, obviously with that toxic sticks already a full Tem down for Mr. Redmoon. There is a little bit of damage he has to climb, maybe potentially get another pick off here, but it's so hard to find them when the roller is still so healthy, and the Stone Ball may just come in, shred out this 𝗬𝗚𝗚, and then you're suddenly in a very compromised position. So 𝗬𝗵𝗶 will be swapped out for some 𝗬𝗚𝗚 on the side of Paenis here. With that roller, chamomile is also applied, so no toxic ticks can come through here. The marbles do a little bit of chip damage, but not quite significant enough. Bait does get proc due to Rockfall on the side of Redmoon, and we'll see what the 𝗬𝗚𝗚's response is. It will be helicopter kick, as per usually, but of course nullified, making that quite minimal in terms of damage. But the roller does get put to sleep, and fortunately still neutralized. So the roller should be okay here. The question will be if the 𝗬𝗚𝗚 on Paenis' side will be okay, potentially to a double up.
Yeah, I'm not too certain, because you know the rotor, whether it was sleeping or not, it was already pretty much overexerted. So maybe could have gone off something a little bit more like a narcoleptic hit on the 𝗬𝗚𝗚s potentially. But here goes the crystal, and perhaps if it was something like a narco hit, if he was running it, that 𝗬𝗚𝗚s might not be sitting tall as of right now, right? So potentially a different line of play Redmoon could have taken. However, though, he still brings out his rotor. He does get those things online. The sharp stab gonna be taking down the Talaris, the 𝗬𝗚𝗚s on the side of Redmoon. And let's see, does he close the chapter on this 𝗬𝗚𝗚s? He's going for the held anger.
Held anger, yes, is committed onto the opposing roller, but it's not quite enough to get the roller down. Ninja Shield gets swapped in here for the side of Redmoon, but as it stands, I mean, Paenis still has 4 Tems active. Minotaur hasn't even had to come out yet, but the problem here is that, well, Minotaur isn't necessarily the greatest Ninja Shield, you know, combatant. So also the roller as well. So Minotaur isn't really the greatest last option here. So the hook kick does get committed into the roller. Reactive Vial keeping it a bit healthy. Neutralize as well to follow through. The Drill Impact trying to close the deal, but it's not quite there. Overexertion is caused here. Allergic Spread to follow as well. Dropping the roller here. 𝗬𝗚𝗚s should swiftly follow, even with that mirroring left chipping away the Ninja. So this roller's goring should be able to take it out, and it does.
That is right. Beautifully played for this turn. Redmoon double KO on his side. So down to the final 2 Temtems. But that Minotaur, even though it is still 100% HP, the simple fact that I believe this rotor on Redmoon's side is already nullified, it's going to be enabling it to at least get any kind of damage, especially considering it only has 15.6% remaining. So a little hasty lunge on that side doesn't seem too much of a bad play, because Yggdrasil can't really take down a Minotaur that easily. I mean, little by little, that is what Yggdrasil does, just toxic ticks all day long. I think Paenis played this beautifully as can be. It all started when the AWW didn't get deployed because of that rush, right? That's when things started going a little bit out of Redmoon's control. And now it's just a lonely Yggdrasil at 30%. So I do think Paenis is looking primed to take game number 1.
Absolutely, securing that kill. He was definitely in control for most of that game. I think there was definitely opportunities where a comeback, or there was a looming threat that perhaps the closing out of that game would be a lot harder going into the later stages, but it just didn't happen. As you mentioned, the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 getting picked off before it got a chance to Aquatic Whirlwind trade was ginormous. There was just Mr. Redmoon was just a full Tem down for roughly half that game, which kind of made it really hard to come back. So we'll have to see what mix-up he decides to take here. I can see Anaton and Rolder banned this time.
Interesting. I love the respect, right? Usually when you have something, oh, I guess the rotor did get banned and that was his only earth technique, so I could totally see why the Anaton does indeed get banned. It's just a strong Temtem with that trait, right? The self-care. Whenever you take any kind of attack, you get 1 tick of regen, so very, very impactful down the road. But of course, 𝗵𝗵 going to be picking up that 𝗧𝗵𝗺. Paenis is going to be picking up the Voltkamex here. And man, I'm trying to think about this opener because 𝗬𝗏 kind of looking good against 𝗬𝗏𝗃. But I guess it's just going to be for us to find out. Dude, Blue, this was a fast picking bans, was it not?
They really do. I didn't get the chance to talk about the 𝗬𝗏 on the field, and the 𝗬𝗏 as well, getting that hostile buff going. And Mr. Redmoon getting that Rolder is actually, again, it's kind of huge for him. He does potentially get that tempo, maybe pick off that 𝗬𝗏 right away in the opening. Even a swap out doesn't feel that good. I mean, what do you swap in? A Voltkamex? It's still going to take a lot of damage. Even if it comes in. Obviously, you could focus down the 𝗬𝗏, but that might not be the best opportunity. We'll have to see. So Paenis does swap out the 𝗬𝗏, knowing that he could potentially get doubled down here. So the Minotaur will be tanking the rest of that damage, which is fair enough. Helicopter kick does follow through, doing a decent chunk of damage, but it's not very significant because the 𝗬𝗏 will get that bait off, will get that immunity off. The drill impact will follow as well. So yeah, just doubling up on the Minotaur spot, making sure 𝗬𝗏 doesn't get to stay in. But the Embers trade, look at that, significantly much more damage, a bigger threat already going in for the side of Paenis.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Knowing that it was most likely going to be a neutral technique like that drill impact onto that 𝗬𝗏 side. Minotaur, excellent swap out. You know, you could have maybe tried to read something like a stone ball, but that's like the riskier, higher risk, high reward play. But hey, nice little swap out. As you mentioned, just like we saw in game 1, Redmoon off those exchanges dealing a little bit less damage, and the other way around, Paenis dealing a little bit more damage on the 𝗬𝗏𝗃, and it did do over 50%. So one more Embers exactly like that will be taking it all the way down. So Redmoon wants to be a little bit careful leaving this 𝗬𝗏𝗃 in here, but the Minotaur not trying to have anything to do with those crystal/earth techniques. It does swap into a Voltkamex. The question is, does the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 stay in? And the question is answered as a yes. I don't know. You kind of do want to save it for that hook kick later on the 𝗬𝗏𝗃. But we'll see. I think the Meteor Swarm might just close it out for the 𝗬𝗏𝗃.
Yeah, there's a damage split as well, so 𝗬𝗏𝗃 going down without getting a significant trade going, and the Stone Ball going on the 𝗬𝗏𝗃, the damage going to the Voltkamex. Again, the damage isn't impactful enough to threaten either of these Tems out. I mean, swapping in the Ninja Steel now, you can get that chip damage and pick off the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 now. But again, we're in a situation where Mr. Redmoon's just a full Tem down. There's not like, again, there's no Tem nearly dead, so there will have to be a double up pressure somewhere. And Paenis gets the control. If he reads it correctly, what is swapped out here? The 𝗬𝗏𝗃 will just escape here straight up for that 𝗬𝗏𝗃, and the Voltkamex has the opportunity to deal damage to both these Tems. Very solid against Ninja Steel and Rolder. Marbles will do a little bit of chip, but that's that will be just straight up the toxic pool of attack down on both these Tems, which rely heavily on their attack damage. Speed up goes up as well, but the Toxic Kick does absolutely nothing on the 𝗬𝗏𝗃. The Toxic Kicks will have to do the rest. The Goring, though, does put it under 50%.
Yeah, exactly right. To your point, 33% reduction on both the rotor, making that Goring not too much. And oh, the bigger picture, perhaps Redmoon gonna be conceding, which means, guys, Paenis is still undefeated.
Voltkamex with the Lumas, let's go! I was about to say, doesn't he have a full Luma team? And there it is. Oh, baby. Absolutely shining with an amp tier.
Exactly, and you know, I believe Voltkamex was the only tamer to take down our previous champion Genosect in the Swiss rounds, so he's running hot. He is running hot. Can he try to take down Spectruhh? I believe Spectruhh is 1 game up, so this should be game 2. With how speedy that round 1, round 2 went for Redmoon and Paenis, I believe we were looking at a game 2 situation. And hey, as you said, that is a whole lot of shine, right? A whole lot of Luma Temtems. But nice little welcomer trait with the 𝗵𝗶𝗇𝗺 to start things off for Voltkamex. And then Spectruhh just starting out with a 𝗧𝗵𝗶 to try to pressure out the 𝗵𝗶𝗇𝗺 once that evasion, once the evasion passes by on the secondary turn. So this is still a strong board for both of these Temtems. Potentially the 𝗧𝗵𝗶 just posing a big threat if the Soul Shout doesn't get too much across. It's going to be back and forth though.
Absolutely. So picked up Voltkamex here. And the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 as well. It's been a hot minute since we've seen the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, to be honest. Momo also in the back pocket here, so Spectruhh. We'll have to see when he decides to go with his back line here. I would think an Acronox Roller's looking pretty solid. 𝗬𝗵𝗶 maybe for the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, but again, the Roller and the Acronox should be good enough. So now actually does pick up the 𝗬𝗵𝗶 with that Acronox.
I do love that 𝗬𝗵𝗶 pick, right? You do get the water for the 𝗧𝗫 that was potential pickup. You get the tornado for the 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗀, which was a potential pickup. So yeah, I think Spectruhh recruiting it properly as he tends to do. So here we go. We get another game in our quarterfinals. Voltkamex with that full Luma squad versus a previous champion in Spectruhh himself. So let's go ahead and see it. We do not see the welcomer trait. Wait a second. What kind of trait? Wait, Blue. Wait, I only usually see the welcomer trait. What is the other trait on the... Oh, man. I wasn't prepared for this.
Hang on. Let me double check. Quickly going through the data before they get their picks off. Nope, it's too late now. It's Bruiser. So the other skill for 𝗧𝗏 is Bruiser. 𝗦𝘂𝗽 does get swapped in here. For the side of Voltkamex. The play is connecting on the 𝗂𝗏, already nearly dead. Wait a minute. Water cannon into that 𝗵𝗶𝗇𝗺, but he just takes that every day of the week. The CPG as well, trying to eliminate it, and it gets cleanly cut out. You trade damage, I trade a kill. 𝗦𝘂𝗽 swapped in, but unable to stop that. The 𝗧𝗏 is now swapped in once more here. And with that Bruiser trait, does do 15% more melee damage. So the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 could just get one shot here if this is some sort of glass cannon 𝗧𝗏.
Yeah, I could only agree more. You know, I think that was a little bit of a mind game read for Volt, right? He thought that since the 𝗵𝗶𝗇𝗺 was more in danger, that was probably the proper swap out for the 𝗦𝘂𝗽. So I think... Oh!
That's absolutely huge! Already 2 pickoffs. The allergic spread is committed. But 𝗂𝗏 says, we take those every day of the week. Deuces, I'm out of here. 𝗧𝗵𝗺 getting a second kill. Already 2 attempts down on the side of Voltkamex and only getting that 𝗂𝗏 cleanly back. I say cleanly, that was a pretty labored kill, unfortunately for Voltkamex here.
Yeah, unbelievable opening couple turns for the side of Spectruhh. He did sacrifice one Temtem, but it was a needed sacrifice, right? You got rid of the 𝗵𝗶𝗇𝗺, you got rid of the 𝗧𝗏, so well done. And you know, you still have a lot of great Temtems in the back line, right? Volder and 𝗬𝗵𝗶 for the 𝗦𝘂𝗽, Acronox for the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, and then Momo, he's just a neutral Temtem, right? So everything gonna be impacting him neutrally onto onto further on. So let's see. Speaking of Momo, it does come in, and hey, Volt not only has shine to his Luma team, he also has all these nice seals. Are you looking at that, Blue?
Yeah, so the water cannon committed here. No synergy, of course. CPG as well. Already nearly killing the Momo. The Toxic Ink will chip away at the 𝗬𝗵𝗶, and the follow-up should be sufficient. No, the 𝗬𝗵𝗶 lives, but the Toxic Ink should deal with it.
That is right. Yeah, doesn't get the tornado off. So is there a little bit of momentum swing coming back Voltkamex's way? He killed the 𝗬𝗵𝗶 before that devastating tornado. However, there's still another Wind Temtem in the back line. His name is Voltkamex, gonna be making an appearance right now. But oh, Blue, we do get the refreshing Diabolo, recovering that Momo's HP by 25%. So coming up and away, allowing the Undermines to potentially get off a little bit easier. So let's see. I mean, Voltkamex only has things like Cold Breeze available to him. So 𝗦𝘂𝗽 looking decent for now. And at least you have an electric Temtem to... Oh, never mind. I was going to say to swap into later on, but it's going to be swapping in now.
Yeah, 𝗧𝗵𝗺 with that half full. You know, you know what they say, you gotta look at the glass half full. The CPG chipping away at it. 35.9% HP already. The Noxious Bomb as well to follow, dropping it to 25 already. Spores to regenerate with 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗁𝗃𝗃𝗃, but with its HP so limited, and the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 probably more than happy to throw its life for another CPG. This might just be a straight up dead Scaravolt.
Yeah, keep in mind though, 𝗬𝗵𝗶 out of stamina, right? However, I don't see it as a bad play, just overexerting. You're either going to be connecting on that Scaravolt or the Momo. Those two are good value kills. I didn't get to see how much exact damage it did, because I believe an overexertion CPG following that up with a Noxious Bomb, that might just be enough to take it all the way down. I guess we're going to be finding out right here, right now. 32% down to 8. Blue, is it enough?
Yes, it is. 𝗧𝗵𝗶 will secure that kill. The attack down will make sure that even if he focuses on one of these Tems, it will still be a labored kill that 𝗬𝗵𝗶 will get picked off. That was for certain after the overexertion. But the Scaravolt, the Thunder Strike, we'll see how much damage this does. This Voltkamex has to go down. It drops to 32% HP and now is in threatened range from that Momo. The Scaravolt did its due diligence, giving Voltkamex an out in this fight as the Acronox is on the field. But again, if you look at the table, this Acronox is not in the biggest win position. This Yggdrasil, the biggest threat on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say the biggest threat. However, at +2 speed, a hyperkinetic strike from this Voltkamex could be quite devastating, right? I would only imagine something in the neighborhood of like 40, 50, even 60%, depending on how much special defense this Yggdrasil has TV trained onto itself. But even so, I think this Acronox looking okay, right? Because you're going to try to maybe kill the Voltkamex just in case it tries to save the HKS. Or I'm not too sure, Blue. What are you thinking? Do you think he just overexerts for something big like the HKS this turn? Or does he think he's going to go all the attention onto the Scorpion?
I mean, if you take out the Voltkamex, right, that's pretty much forcing the Acronox into 2-on-1. Actually, we'll see HKS actually committed onto the Momo, trying to pick it off, but it's not enough. The Acronox will have to do the rest, but the Momo should surely go faster than the Acronox. No, it doesn't! The Solar Steam committed! It'll pick off the Momo here for sure! But now the Yggdrasil. Again, now we're in a situation where we have a 1v1 Acronox versus Yggdrasil as the Narcoleptic hit trying to secure the bag on that Voltkamex. It does. The Yggdrasil does go to sleep, but I mean, I talked about it a little bit. Plus, this Acronox, I don't think it has the damage. It does half with all of its kit, unless it somehow, I don't know, learns a melee move or something. I don't know. The Toxic Shower is done. We'll give it some evasion here going forward, but the rest is there to just get that stamina back.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Yggdrasil doesn't really have any damage on the Acronox as well, right? And one of these Temtems is a little bit faster than the other one, hence why the Toxic Showers always coming in clutch. The evasion allowing it to survive blow after blow. Even the spores aren't going to be connecting. I mean, it comes down to a stamina game, but I just don't think Voltkamex is going to be able to squeeze in. That's about 19% right there. But I think the name of the game is just Toxic Shower until you end up winning the game. I'm pretty sure Spectruhh has this one in the bag.
Yep, doing 13% with each strike, which means he would have to do it, quick maths, 5 more times. But the concession, yeah, 5 more times. The concession does finally come through. Spectruhh does take it, and yes, you're right. Plus, it is 4 times. I forgot to carry the 1. There you go. Spectruhh does take game number 1, in fact.
And is in. I'm pretty sure this is either game 2. Oh, it's just game 2. Okay. So hey, Bluemonster, since you're here, who took game 1? I mean, I could check the bracket real quick. It looks like Genosect took game 1, so let's go ahead and report the scoreboard here. Game 1 did go Genosect's way, so on the cuffs of securing his semifinals position and maybe inching his way a little bit more forward to that grand finals one more time, unless Bluemonster is going to be standing in his way. So let's go ahead and find out if he can. So he does have the blue side, which tends to favor against a little bit of a stall team, but we'll see. It doesn't seem to be rocking a bit more an aggressive team. It seems mid-range, which potentially a little bit of a rough matchup against stall, because mid-range maybe not fast enough, enabling Genosect to just start setting up like the mad lad we've seen in the past. So we will see indeed.
Absolutely. The 𝗬𝗵𝗶, so good at setting up just to build up a Temtem to be quite indestructible. Of course, He has options, Gorong, and Golder, and obviously the Voltkamex are all classic, or not classic, but at least they're really tanky Tems. The 𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗶 is pretty good choice as well. They just still got removed. Obviously, you want to get rid of those toxic Tems. Straight up remove them. That's a huge vulnerability in sort of a tank build. Of course, Genosect has toxic Tems to tank as well, so not the biggest deal in the world, but I will see. So Roller gets picked up here. Roller, such a staple here for most openings.
Yeah, it just feels so good, right? Even against your counter, you always have the reactive valve feeling great. And I like this Corrin pickup from Genosect, right? I actually don't remember if he was working with the Corrin in the previous event, but this seems like a new addition, and I do very much like this, right? Because I was thinking 𝗂𝗀𝗇𝗺 with something like the diffuser trait looks kind of nice. However, thinking about a stone ball coming straight down to you doesn't feel all that great anymore. So let's see what he ends up picking up. I like the 𝗬𝗺, doesn't feel that bad. It just seems a little bit slower pace as well, but here we go, guys. Rotor and the Dino trying to go toe-to-toe with Gorong and the Corrin, right? I'm pretty sure Genosect does run Rush on that Gorong, so he might just elect to start overexerting ASAP so that you get those attack buffs as soon as possible. But okay, let's see how these guys round out the rest of their team.
Absolutely. The Toolcom pickup here to the back pocket of Bluemonster. Genosect still thinking about which support he would like to take. Takes the 𝗬𝗵𝗶 and the Voltkamex here, so leaving it open for either 𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗶 or that 𝗬𝗫. Both very good supports in this situation. And again, I mean, as we talked about a little bit, Bluemonster, the onus is on him to potentially push through this stall comp before it gets out of hand, and maybe with a mid-range team that may be a bit more difficult, but again, we'll have to see.
Yes, indeed, we will see. So let's find out, can Bluemonster take a single game off to try to make us into a game 3 situation? Or is Genosect going to be initiated into that coveted club of a back-to-back champ? Of course, I'm speaking a little too soon. He still has to get through Paenis in that semifinals if he goes through, guys. So let's just go ahead and find out for ourselves. Well, for the opening turn, we do get possibly something like a rush that we're seeing. So just trying, like we said, getting those attack buffs online as possible, as early as possible as he can, and make that double the trouble, because that's going to be a protector buff. But the Intimidator, no protector buff today for Geno.
Absolutely denied here. The Gorong will be taking that punishment, and Genosect, no response so far, and that is all due to the Intimidator. The Tireless is well nullified. This 𝗬𝗺 value going through the roof here for the side of Bluemonster.
100%. You know, we didn't know if it was frightening. We didn't know if it was Intimidator. Apparently, Genosect might have not known as well, because that was devastating. You already neglected the Protector, and as you just said, the Tireless. So he's going to be resting this turn for literally nothing, right? Because Tireless... Wait, actually, how does that work? Because Rush normally has you immobilized for the following turn. But, you know, I guess since he gets deleted the Tireless trait, I'm pretty sure Gorong can attack. So maybe this is pretty advantageous for the side of Bluemonster. Just trying to keep ticking away at this Gorong, right? It's already at 58%. Another little Embers, another little Stone Ball / Gorong should be inching his way there. So this is a really good turn so far for Bluemonster.
So Tireless prevents them from... So when they overexert, they don't skip their turn when they overexert, and they gain attack boost. So what has happened here is that if Gorong overexerts, he does not get the attack boost, nor is he not penalized by that overexertion. So Gorong is quickly swapped out here for that Voltkamex, sort of diminish the effects, the beneficial effects of that Intimidator 𝗬𝗺. The heater is applied, but Intimidator nullifies that, so the Toolcon's ability straight up removed. The Lifeful Sap, though, going straight to the Voltkamex, of course, with the Kaleidoscope. The Ambers chipping away at the 𝗬𝗫 as well. And I think Genosect's a bit stumped. I mean, it appears to be. None of his traits are working. 𝗬𝗫 has wasted his Protector buff, right? So the stall game hasn't started at all for him. So, I mean, I'm not sure if his team is built to get down and dirty when it comes to it. So, This might be a hard matchup I mean, we thought the mid-range was going to be a hard matchup, but this 𝗃𝗏 says, I bet. We'll see how you stall against this.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see indeed. But, you know, as you mentioned, the Intimidator doing some wonders and a little bit of a double-edged sword with that heater trait not proccing through. However, though, I believe the one silver lining, Genosect only has to wait out 5 turns, right? Intimidator only works for the first 5 turns. So after those 5 turns, now Goron can start getting online. But the question is, can Bluemonster get enough done, right? Can he progress that board state? Can he do enough damage to not allow, when he does get those buffs, to really make it all that impactful? So here we go, a little fiery soul, but the Guardian gonna be protecting it from the burn and adding 2 ticks of mind. Oh, never mind. All these traits working in with each other. This is beautiful to see. You don't get the burn from the Tokan from the 𝗬𝗏 Guardian. You don't get the -2 attack from the Toxic Plume because of the short circuit. Unbelievable traits coming in and out of this game.
Absolutely. It went from no traits to straight up all the traits for both players. Bluemonster swapping in that Volgon just to straight up prevent that attack down. And of course, Genosect on his side preventing the Voltkamex from suffering the damage penalty and the burn effect from that fiery soul. So now the board state back online, the 𝗃𝗏 back pocketed as well, so no traits available here. 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗵 will be swept out back into the 𝗃𝗏, so he got him for 2 minutes as that trait is still active. Electric Storm is thrown down. Once more, the damage is huge on the Voltkamex. Water Cannon, though, punishing the 𝗃𝗏's entry, but the 𝗃𝗏 is just way too strong. The 𝗬𝗏 is not built to eliminate to do damage, rather. The Noxious Bomb is well committed. 𝗃𝗏 already at 34.4% HP. And Genosect, there's no stat buffs quite yet. But surprisingly, matching the tempo pretty alright so far.
I think so as well. You know, I like this play from Genosect, right? Trying to cover all his bases. He threw the water cannon intended for the Tokan, but just in case that 𝗃𝗏 coming in to neglect that anaerobic Voltkamex to start stacking itself up, he also threw down the Noxious Bomb. So well played. As we saw, 𝗃𝗏 going all the way down to 34%, which means one more Noxious Bomb potentially could put it on death's door with that following toxic tick. So hey, this is a little bit more momentum swinging in the direction of Genosect. We will see though, does 𝗃𝗏 stay in? And oh, the 𝗵𝗶𝗆 outburst coming through, so trying to immobilize everything for the following turn. But here we go again, water cannon on the same exact spot. So hey, a little deja vu. Gonna be taking down the dinosaur here.
So finally, 𝗃𝗏 getting picked off here by that Noxious Bomb. The Voltkamex going back up to that green. I mean, was below 50% now. Straight up healed up from that regenerate. And we're seeing the effects of that mid-range slowly losing away. There's no sustain here for the side of Bluemonster. And stamina betraying him a bit. 46% stamina remaining on the Volgon. The goals now coming in. Potentially looking for that double up on the Voltkamex, but Goron and 𝗂𝗀𝗆 still in the back pocket for Genosect. Could look to see if he can get that swap in.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, something that's good about taking down the 𝗃𝗏 here is that you don't any longer have to worry about that darn intimidator trait for the Goron. So potentially trying to swap it in here so that he can start getting those tireless traits back up online. The baton pass going to be recovering 10 to 15%. I think it's 10 or 15 actually. I have to look back. But it's going to be a double swap for the side of Genosect. The Sparkling Bullet, good read, right? Because it was intended for the Voltkamex. He would have caught the Corn. So I like this play from Bluemonster, just trying to gun down the Goron and down to 27%. 2 more hits is going to be taking the Baboon down.
Absolutely. The Goron already down to 26% is huge. We'll see what speed it's running at. If it can get an attack off before it gets absolutely demolished here in the following turn. The Karin, of course, will have the opportunity. I mean, he gets its pick of which Temtem it wants to obliterate with his Earth moves. So we'll just have to see how Bluemonster will deal with that. Perhaps swapping out one of these attempts to predict that current attack. Kinu will be swapped back in. I don't think Projector Buff will proc anymore. It was nullified previously and it doesn't. 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶 straight into the current though. Dropping it below 50% HP. We'll see that responding in kind, the Skull Helmet is committed. Stone Ball to drop on the 𝗂𝗀𝗪, and the trade does favor the current only temporarily as it is overexerted with the Volgon.
That is right. Nice little strangle play. However, I like this Kinu swap out from Genosect, right? If you don't have another Temtem, might as well try to throw a little beta burst onto the 𝗂𝗪. And unfortunately for the side of Bluemonster, a hasty lunge or any kind of attack can't take down a Kinu from 60%. And you don't have your ally Temtem like Volgon to try to help you out in that regard because it is overexerted from that strangle technique. So man, a tough spot. I love the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶 on the Corrin, but just like a lot of these stall players, they are bulky, right? 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶 barely doing a little bit over 60% or under 60% rather. I don't think an uppercut is enough to close it out, because looking at the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶 damage, it just wasn't enough. So Bluemonster gonna be swamping into the Tokon. No longer gets the heater trade, of course, as we saw it used already, but does come in and get everything online. I believe even Fire Tornado now comes online this very next turn.
Lifeful Staff committed again onto that Gorong. So 4 turns of regen. The question will be if it gets it off, and it does. Tokon not doing anything and the Volgon overexerted. So Gorong gets that heal up, but doesn't get the baton pass buff due to isolation. So nothing. So still at 32% HP. We'll see what damage it can do on this turn, but it definitely will be able to proc the Tireless.
Yeah, you know, I think what Genosect probably trying to think about in this turn is perhaps just saving the Goron, because if he retreats the Goron, it's going to be a 30% increase in the back line. Or does it try to stay in just for the Tireless? But no, he does want that 30% recovery, which is really brilliant. Ends up being a 40% recovery with that baton pass. So, man, Genosect is executing this perfectly so far. The Tornado intended for the Goron going to be catching the Corrin, and is not enough blue on Dev's door, but this Thunder Strike might just be enough for the bird.
And in fact it is. The Volran gets picked off, the Corrin living that attack. Maybe not the biggest, not the greatest silver lining. Maybe wanting to double swap here for the side of Genosect was the intent, but the Volran getting picked off means only one gets swapped in, so Shireen will be coming in instead. Obviously, Water Cannon available to punish this Tokon's presence. The Volgon as well, I don't think will be punished much. I mean, the Corrin is already at 4.6 HP. At this point, it will not be able to get a move off before the Tokon shuts it down, if it does stay in.
Yeah, very true. We'll see if it does end up staying in. And to your point, I like what you said. Shireen does have a potential water can looking at Tokon, so a little bit of a tough spot for Bluemonster. Does he want to try to keep in Tokon, try to get a 3 priority play like a Fiery Soul just to neglect the Stone Balls coming into the Volgon's direction? But, you know, it's kind of, which is worse of, what's the saying? Lesser evil? Something along those lines? Do you just eat a water cannon to prevent something like a Stone Ball coming into the Volgon? Because I don't think a single water cannon takes you all the way down, right? It seems like a little bit of a mid-range bulkier Tokon with that heater trait. So it could possibly be a good line. Another line, you could just swap in Rotor. I don't think Reactive Vial has proc just yet on the Rotor, but I have a feeling he's saving it for that Gorong matchup at the very end. So I'm not too sure. This is definitely a really interesting turn. Potentially a game deciding turn. So he does leave the Tokon and he does decide to click Fiery Soul. So okay, our initial instinct does serve us well.
Yep, getting that solid kill. Water Cannon will be the trade, and it nearly kills off the Tokon, but it's just not quite there for the Shireen. Swapping into Gorong. Once again, getting that baton pass off. Let's see how much HP it has now. It should be relatively healthy coming in. Yeah, 57.3% HP. That's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, absolutely not, right? It was on 20%, right? It was right there in the neighborhood of 20%, and now it comes up to 67% following this turn. However, Toukon could leave with a big old tornado blow. Can Voltkamex try to close things out with a Thunder Strike as well? But the water cannon goes on the Voltkamex. Wait a second, not on the Toukon.
Helicopter kick committed as well. The Toukon and Voltkamex not making their moves before this dynamic duo, so the Toukon will be picked off and the Voltkamex takes some damage. And I mean, we were shocked by the water cannon, but overall it was perfectly fine because the Goro managed to go before the Toukon. But still, that was spooky for a moment there. And speaking of, Rolder does come in, and Bluemonster now in the back foot. Look at the HP pools in the back pocket. There's not enough here. I mean, the 𝗬𝗵 should be able to deal enough damage to get out the 𝗬𝗬𝗺. The Thunder Strike nearly committing to that kill. 𝗬𝗵 should go down here with a Rolder follow-up, but the Water Cannon will be first. The Voltkamex dropping to 22.3% HP, but the Goring should trade 1-for-1 here if the Voltkamex does go down to the Gorong Strike. The hook kick, punching its lights out, picking that Voltkamex off, will be swapping in that 𝗬𝗬𝗺 forcibly. Overexertion comes in, but the Tireless isn't proc. Wait a minute, Tireless did not proc.
No, it's gonna proc. It's gonna proc. It's after the turn, so it will indeed proc.
Is it after? Okay, there we go.
Exactly, right. But man, Genosect had to play this perfectly. You know, something Bluemonster, I believe there could have been a timer thing, because if Toukon got a tornado off, right, a 3-priority tornado would have been massive, right? Because he was going down anyways to any attack. But you know, this 𝗬𝗫 might just be everything Genosect needs to try to take this home, because Rotor is just not going to have enough attacks after this 𝗬𝗬𝗺 going down. So it's a 2v1 situation. Bluemonster starting off so impactful, but he's trying to deal with the bigger damage dealer. I say that, but 𝗬𝗫 with the little beta burst does pose a little bit of a trouble. So let's see, can a Goring close it out for that Gorong? 20%, is that too much to ask for? What are we thinking, Blue?
The Gorong will have to be faster than Rolder, but I was going to say, obviously he had to rest with the Gorong, so picking up the 𝗬𝗬𝗺 was his only option if that was his intended target. But now you're in a position where the Rolder can just go before the Gorong and could kill it, and it is the 𝗬𝗫 will have to deal with the Rolder itself, and it will have the benefit of being in a position where all the damage from this Rolder is halved against the 𝗬𝗫. I don't think there's any move that 𝗬𝗫 is weak to. So Beta Burst will have to be opposing this Rolder, who doesn't have particularly a lot of stamina. That Beta Burst is significant. Reactive Vial, though, evening the playing field a bit. Now, 𝗬𝗫 takes half damage, but Rolder does a lot more with that half than 𝗬𝗫 does with one Beta Burst.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Nullification is going to be running out after the following turn, so that Beta Burst did about 30%, which is just about 2 or 3 Beta Bursts. I think Genosect might be closing it out. Can you only imagine if 𝗬𝗫 still had Stonewall? If 𝗬𝗫 had Stonewall in the situation, boy, would it be oppressive. But yeah, I think the Goring/Drill impacts are only doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10%. So, that's actually overexertion. The Revitalize back to the healthy 𝗬𝗫 he is.
Absolutely. That is a 25% heal, I believe, on the Revitalize. And Goring plus Drill Impact, which causes overexertion, is roughly, what, 30%? So, yeah, Goring does 15 and Drill Impact does 10. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure Revitalize is healing more than he is doing damage with both his entire stamina bar. So this 𝗬𝗫 just absolutely eclipsing the output of Rolder at 50% damage taken. It's just not enough. Revitalize again. He's like, I bet I'll just heal through all of your damage. It does not matter. Actually, Revitalize is doing 20%. So the damage is positive in the favor of the Rolder. But still, that's around, what, 5% damage every time he spends his stamina bar. It's just not going to be enough, I think.
Yeah, you know, I think Genosect is playing for timer, because at the very end, after the Revitalize, if you just Beta Burst, you win off HP, right? So here goes the Goring, 75 down to 59. The Revitalize is going to be recovering back into those 70s. So 78 officially have more HP. It's turn 24, Blue. So is there a world if you just go rest, Beta Burst?
No.
That is right. I was thinking the same thing, right? Rest, Beta Burst, and you get the upper hand. Incredible game.